Now, though, we move on because turmoil in the Labour Party continues as Dudley Councillor Steve Edwards has been expelled after attacking Sir Keir Starmer, accusing the Prime Minister of lying to the British public and abandoning the working class. Councillor Edwards, who represented Brockmore and Pensnet, wrote to Starmer urging more support for ordinary people. And get this, just days later, he was unceremoniously booted out of the party. He was expelled. He says, quote, Starmer promised lower energy bills, support for pensioners and no tax rises. And then he backtracked. He's turned his back on the working class. Labour refuses to comment on this situation, on this case, but they insist Keir Starmer wasn't personally involved. Local Labour leader Pete Lowe calls it a sad loss. And Edwards will now sit in as an independent on the council, shifting Dudley's political landscape. So with Labour already losing ground locally, could this spell trouble ahead? Well, I'm delighted now to be joined by the man himself, Steve Edwards. Steve, good evening. Thanks for joining me.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Good, thank you. Thank you for your company. What happened? Just talk us through it. You wrote a letter, did you? How did you first display and express your criticism of Keir Starmer? And then what happened in response?
So, I mean, I've been critical of Keir Starmer for many months now, obviously, with the winter fuel allowance and stuff being taken away from pensioners who have got next to nothing. I think the cut-off point was about £11,000 income, which we can't expect anybody to live on £11,000. In fact, the minimum wage by the government states that we can't expect anybody to live on £11,000. So, obviously, I voiced my displeasure with that. And I had a little bit of a telling off from the regional party saying I shouldn't be trying to embarrass the government, where I said, look, it's the government that are embarrassing me, not me embarrassing the government.
How did you do it, Steve? Was it on Facebook or did you write a letter? How did you do it?
So, yeah, I put a post on Facebook and then what happened was we had a by-election in our ward in December and Brockmore and Pensnet was one of the safest wards in Dudley Borough. So we returned 3 Labour MPs with a massive majority just in May this year. Then come December, we had to have a by-election for various reasons. We come third behind the Conservatives who came first and Reform who came second. Everybody on the doorstep was saying to me, look, we're going to vote Reform. Like, that's the way we're all going now. So obviously it was Labour voters going that way. Once we lost that election, I voiced my concerns on Facebook, which went viral. I think I had a friend phone me up saying they read it in the New York Times kind of thing. So it had gone all around the world and all around the country. Actually, I think you guys wanted to interview me at the time, but I voiced my opinion. I was like, I'm just going to leave it now. But as things have just gone on, it's just got worse.
The government's got worse, you mean, Labour?
Yeah, and Starmer's got worse. I mean, we've seen today with Andrew Gwynn getting sacked. I think they've got rid of him as if he's the problem. Well, actually, he's the creme de la creme for the Labour Party. He's rose to the top because he's Starmer's man kind of thing.
Sorry, go on. No, sorry.
You can't look at people like Andrew Gwynn and what he's saying with the racism he's putting out and, saying he wants old age pensioners to die before they can vote again. When, what did Starmer think taking the winter fuel allowance away from old age pensioners is going to do?
So you went on, you expressed your dissatisfaction with the way things were going. You then had a warning from your local party chairman, was it, saying, don't criticise the government, you could be in trouble here. Then when did you find out you were expelled? How did that go down?
So this week on Monday, I wrote, obviously we're dealing with our own local budget in Dudley. We've been scrutinising that. And there's many problems in Dudley, which I'll put at the foot of the Conservatives and the National Conservatives. They took a lot of money away from all of the boroughs across the country. So a lot of them are facing bankruptcy. But one of the things they're doing within Dudley Borough is they're putting up council tax. Now, Keir Starmer made a promise last year that council tax would definitely not be going up.
Yeah.
So, I voiced my opinion in a letter which I wrote to Keir Starmer and sent to Keir Starmer on Monday, and also emailed it to Keir Starmer, saying, look, yes, the Tories are at fault for various things, but you promised you were going to help, and you aren't helping us. So what are you going to do about it? And 4 days later, I had a letter saying my membership had been revoked.
So hang on, let me get this straight. So you emailed Keir Starmer personally, and then 4 days later, you had your Labour membership revoked. But the party, Steve, say that Keir Starmer had nothing to do with it. And I guess because it was a local issue, why would he? That's their defence. But it seems a bit coincidental, no?
It's very coincidental. Now, I would think, obviously, you'd think, well, the Prime Minister's got nothing to do with little issues like this. But, you know, it goes up a chain, obviously, within the party. It goes to a regional level, then a national level. And then they're going to pass it off at high office. Now, whether it's him or whether it's somebody saying, look, just get rid, because this bloke's speaking up for the working class too much. We don't want people supporting the working class, so just get rid of him and shut him up. And obviously, it's had the opposite effect, because I'm sat here now on the telly.
So, Steve, you say they don't care about the working class. Who do Labour care about then?
So, it's another man, isn't it? It's another establishment stooge. It's another multi-millionaire who claims his dad was a toolmaker, so that makes him working class, when really they've got no understanding of what the working class is. I mean, unfortunately, within all of the parties at the minute, we're led by rich people. I mean, where are the people with the normal accents like this? Where are the people who've worked in the factories? You know what I mean? We've got to have a voice around the table, but they just want to get rid of any voice.
All right, Steve. Thank you, mate, for coming on. Really appreciate it. Labour have said, the party, they've said they don't comment on membership matters, but they made it clear, very clear, that Sir Keir Starmer wasn't involved. I have to get the thoughts now of Paul Richards, the former Labour Special Advisor, on that. You were shaking your head. You were not happy with Steve.
I mean, my first point is that Steve Edwards hasn't got the Prime Minister's personal email address. He can't send him an email. That's just nonsense.
Well,
obviously, he would have said some generic address.
Website, isn't it?
So when they say Keir Starmer wasn't involved, that's absolutely right. I also assume he's going to call a by-election and resign. He's always going to take the expenses up till the next election as an independent, because the local people voted for a Labour councillor and they haven't got one now. Well,
I guess the same with Andrew Gwynn tonight then, the Health Minister. He was been sacked for vile comments. Is he going to hold a by-election?
He may well, because he's been suspended both from the Labour Party...
Would you urge him to, the same way you just have Steve?
Yeah, I think probably that's the honourable thing to do. And the speed with which Labour acted on this is incredible. I mean, the story broke this morning and he was out by lunchtime. I mean, it's pretty, tough stuff, but just shows we don't stand any nonsense.
Yeah, but it's not just the specifics of the Steve Edwards situation. This kind of internecine fighting was a hallmark of the end of the Conservatives' tenure in government. They were infighting all the time, and that's what distressed the public. That and immigration, but the infighting was a big problem. And that was after 14 years. We're looking at it now.
It's only a Dudley councillor. Come on, it's not a cabinet minister resigning. It's only a councillor.
Only a councillor?
You can't say only a councillor.
That's not
a household name, is he?
Hang on a minute. Only a councillor. These are the bedrocks of our democracy.
He was elected as a Labour councillor, and now he's decided to leave. So,
it's grassroots.
I think you should take that, with respect, you should take that back, disparaging local councillors like that.
No, I wasn't disparaging local councillors. Some of my best friends are councillors as well.
Because they're not
only a councillor.
But you were saying it's the same as the end of days when the Tories were in, and that was cabinet ministers. I'm saying that this is just somebody who's a councillor.
No, I was very close to my local association, and I know perfectly well there was so much viciousness and so much infighting, it was a problem.
Okay.
And it happened in many associations, and I'm simply saying that this has started now, and there's every chance it might be multiplied.
Okay.